Royal Palm Beach Village Council meeting for May the 15th. It is now 6:30. We are looking forward to a fantastic meeting this evening, and we want to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you all would rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Please be seated. So good evening once again. It's always good to see the council chambers full, or nearly full anyway. It is a special night. Actually, it's a special time of the year, right? We've got graduations going on endlessly, it seems, and we just yesterday, as a matter of fact, we celebrated the graduation of the class of 2025 from Royal Palm Beach High School. So there are so many things to celebrate. Tonight is an opportunity for us to celebrate a lot of things, as a matter of fact. And so one of the things we'll be doing is three individual proclamations to celebrate contributions by individuals and also by organizations to our village. And let me begin with the very first. Oh, I forgot to mention, let the record show that all members of the council are present.
Yes, Mayor, I will.
So thank you for that. Appreciate that. You're a little late, but I appreciate that. And so we'll begin with the first proclamation that we have this evening, and it is actually to recognize a truly exceptional public servant, our county commissioner, Ms. Virginia Baker. In just a moment, I'm going to ask our vice mayor to read the official proclamation, but before I do that, I want to share some things that are not in that document. Don't worry, not that kind of thing. Ms. Baker is not only a groundbreaking leader in Palm Beach County and the state, probably the nation in a lot of respects, she is also a longtime resident of the village of Royal Palm Beach, and that makes us especially proud. Her record of public service is unmatched. She's compiled a long and distinguished list of accomplishments that will be repeatedly and rightly celebrated across a number of, I'm sure, retirement celebrations. But Carolyn and I have a distinct honor of seeing another side of her. Virginia is also our neighbor. She actually lives 5 doors down. And it's interesting how we've shared communications early in the morning on the street as she's going to work and I'm picking up the newspaper, taking out the garbage. We have had some of the best conversations about big issues and about small issues, about family and about the county. And so far, I've missed that already, and I'm looking forward to kind of reestablishing that in some way in the future. So tonight, it's both a professional and a personal privilege to introduce this proclamation on behalf of the village. So, Ms. Baker, if you would join me in front of the dais for the reading and the presentation of the proclamation. You all, if you would like to applaud when she walks up.
This is a proclamation in honor of Virginia C. Baker, whereas Florida native and longtime county resident Virginia C. Baker, Palm Beach County Administrator, commenced her career with Palm Beach County in 1987 when she was hired as a budget analyst. And whereas Virginia C. Baker rose through the ranks of Palm Beach County government, serving as Impact Fee Coordinator, Director of Financial Management, Assistant County Administrator, and Deputy County Administrator before ascending to the position of County Administrator in September, Palm Beach County Administrator. And whereas during her lengthy tenure, Virginia C. Baker dedicated herself and her career to improving the quality of life for residents and business owners in and visitors to Palm Beach County, with a particular focus on housing, tourism, and economic development, whereas Virginia C. Baker is held in high regard and is deeply respected and admired not only by her political colleagues, but also by leaders and members of national, state, local, professional, and community organizations. And whereas Virginia C. Baker has long served as an example and a role model for women in government, by using her intelligence and experience to achieve the highest non-elected position in Palm Beach County government. And whereas the Village of Royal Palm Beach wishes to publicly recognize and honor Virginia C. Baker for her contributions as a dedicated public official and congratulate her on her well-earned retirement. Now, therefore, on behalf of the citizens and council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, I, speaking for Jeff O'Meara, Mayor of Village Royal Palm Beach, do hereby publicly commend Virginia C. Baker and express our gratitude for the service she has rendered to the Village of Royal Palm Beach and the entirety of Palm Beach County. In witness thereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the official seal of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, to be affixed this 15th day of May 2025, and go Seminoles.
I'm humbled and honored. Thank you, because you're my village, and that's what I call it, my village. Each and every one of the council people, you haven't seen me here because I'm really happy in the Village of Royal Palm. If I wasn't, you would see me. So thank you for all that you do for our community. It is a very pleasant community. I don't have any complaints at all. If I did, I would call Ray, and I would definitely share it with the mayor on our morning talks. In the streets. Yes, in the streets. But I want to seriously thank all of you. Jan, it's been an honor working with you before you ever got on the board with the Cultural Council. And tourism is important to us. It's 90,000 people working in tourism. And so we want to ensure that our good people that represent us in Tallahassee understands that Palm Beach County needs tourism and not to take away our tourism tax. So again, I want to thank you. Ray, I'm not going far, so I will be calling you on the transportation master plan and the mayor. So let's go Knowles. This is going to be a better season than it's been. Yeah. And I do want to, again, thank you all for this recognition.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to work them down here instead of running back and forth. We have two more proclamations, as a matter of fact, and the next one I want to introduce is actually for Public Works Service Week. So this evening, we recognize a group of dedicated professionals whose work often goes unseen, but it's absolutely essential to our quality of life here in Royal Palm Beach. It's planning, building, maintaining, and improving our infrastructure, our roads, our stormwater systems, and we know that probably just recently if you've paid attention. They're well maintained, and they provide us with service that's critical to the Village of Royal Palm Beach, to its safety, and to its smooth running every day. So in honor of their service and in coordination with the national observance, the Village of Royal Palm Beach is proud to proclaim, I guess I need to move closer to this, the week of May 18th, 2025 as Public Works Service Week. So at this time, I'd like to invite the Public Works Director, Paul Webster, and if you have any team members, feel free to have them show up in front of the dais, and we will read, or at least the Vice Mayor will read.
Proclamation. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives. And whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works system and programs such as water, sewers, streets, and highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and the understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, I, speaking for Mayor Jeff O'Mara of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th, 2025 as National Week in the Village of Royal Palm Beach. And I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our parks, our public works, to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Given under my hand and seal this of the Village of Royal Palm Beach on this 15th day of May 2025.
Okay, so our next proclamation, and as I said, it's that time of year to recognize and appreciate the work of so many people who sometimes just aren't really all that visible to us. And it's not by magic that we wind up with a community like Royal Palm Beach. It's by hard work and dedication. So our next proclamation is in recognition of Building Safety Month. This is certainly, well, it's the last of the three, but it's certainly not the least important. Building safety to our community is extremely important. It turns out that each May, communities across the country recognize Building Safety Month. It's a time to raise awareness about the importance of building codes and the professionals who actually ensure that our places where we live, work, and play are safe, sustainable, and resilient. So the department that plays a vital role in protecting lives and property is our building department. Tonight, we are proud to join this national observance by proclaiming May as Building Safety Month in the Village of Royal Palm Beach. At this time, I'd like to invite our building official, Mr. Rob Hill, who is not here. And in his absence, though, we'll go ahead and read, well, maybe the village manager would like to come down and receive this for him.
Mr. Bradford.
Or, oh, is he? I'm not sure how to do that online kind of a thing. But
Proclamation, whereas the Village of Royal Palm Beach is committed to recognizing our growth and strength depends on the safety and economic value of the homes, buildings, and infrastructure that serve our citizens, both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. And whereas our confidence in the structural integrity of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a U.S.-based organization that brings together local, state, and federal officials that are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code of Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown guardians of the public safety, our local code officials, who assure us of safe, efficient, and livable buildings. And whereas the 2025 theme, Game On, encourages all Americans to get in the game of building safety, raising awareness of the importance of building safe and resilient construction that ensures the places that where we live, learn, work, and play are safe, and recognizes that countless lives have been saved due to the implementation of safety codes by local and state agencies. Now, therefore, I, for Jeff O'Mara, the village mayor of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, do proclaim this month of May 25th as Building Safety Month, and accordingly encourage our citizens to join with their communities to improve building safety and economic investment at home, and acknowledge the essential service as first preventers provided by our building safety officials in protecting our lives and property.
So as I said at the outset, this is an opportunity to thank people who oftentimes don't get much attention, but whose contributions make a huge difference in the village of Royal Palm Beach. So thank you all who received the proclamations tonight. Your service really makes a difference, no doubt about it. And now, to the future. One of our best village investments, as far as I'm concerned, in our future is the presentation of the scholarships that we do every year. And this year, we'll be awarding 10 scholarships to outstanding graduating or already have graduated seniors who are also residents of Royal Palm Beach. These fine young adults have not only exceeded in the academics, but they have also demonstrated strong character, leadership, and a commitment to service in the community. These students represent the very best of our community, and their futures are filled with bright opportunities. And hopefully they will spend some of those years back here with us. Before presenting the scholarship awards, let me thank the members of our Education Advisory Board for their hard work in selecting this year's recipients. I can tell you it was not an easy task. And I also want to thank them very much for the commitment throughout the school year to making our education environment a better environment every chance that we have in every way that we can. Their contributions are noted throughout the county, as a matter of fact, because our Education Advisory Board is used as a model by several other municipalities. Okay, now, what most of you have been waiting for. Let's recognize the class of 2025 scholarship recipients. So the way we're going to do this, I'll ask the Vice Mayor to continue reading, as he's been doing so far this evening. I'll ask him to read your name individually as a recipient. I'll ask that you join me in front of the dais. Once you're up here, members of our Education Advisory Board will read a brief summary of your background. Then I'll give you the award, better known as a check, and a quick picture for all of us to remember the occasion. And then when we get finished, we'll try to do a group shot. That's a lot, I know, but that's why I got it written down, because I probably couldn't remember it myself. So without further ado, let me step down in front of the dais, and then I will ask our Vice Mayor to begin by reading the first scholarship recipient's name.
The first scholarship recipient we have tonight is Jada Esmeralda Castro.
Jada Esmeralda Castro is honored to be recognized by the Council for her academic and personal achievements. This spring, she will receive both her ACE diploma and Associate in Arts degree before transferring to the University of Florida to study biology on a pre-dental track.
Congratulations. Our next scholarship recipient tonight is Eloise Gaspard.
Gaspar is a senior at Suncoast High School, where she has worked hard to balance academics with involvement in community service like beach cleanups and tutoring, and her school's weightlifting team. Known for her positive attitude and dedication to helping others, Eloise Gaspard plans to attend Florida State University.
Not that I'm biased in any way, but our third recipient tonight is Rachel Hunter.
So Rachel Hunter was born and raised in Royal Palm. She currently attends Seminole Ridge Community High School, where she is part of the TV production program, president of the National Honor Society, and captain of the girls' tennis team. This fall, she will be majoring in journalism at the University of Florida.
Next recipient we have tonight is Ogochukwu Ekum.
Ogo Ekum is a new graduate of the Medical Sciences Academy at Royal Palm Beach High School, where she earned 5 medical certifications and an ACE diploma. Her extracurricular activities included serving as president of the Future Health Professionals Club and the National Honor Society, co-founding Heartwarming Hands, and earning over 670 community service hours. Her future plans are to enter the pre-med track at Florida International University and to pursue a career as a pediatric oncologist.
The next recipient we have tonight is Jayla Midget.
Jayla Midget has actively participated in both academics and athletics. She was a member of the National Honor Society and Spanish Honor Society and served as team captain for the varsity basketball team. She plans to pursue a bachelor's degree in nursing, fulfilling her goal of becoming a third-generation nurse. Her dream is to care for sick children and to give back to the Palm Beach community through compassionate health care.
Our next scholarship recipient tonight is Rohan Persad.
Rohan Prasad is a graduate of Royal Palm Beach High School, where he was in the top 10% of his class, and a soon-to-be graduate of FAU with a bachelor's degree in Management Information Systems. He currently works as a help desk technician at FAU and will be an intern this summer at Palm Beach County School District Cybersecurity Department. In high school, he was active in student council, math academic games, and National Honor Society.
The next scholarship recipient we have tonight is Jamie Ross.
As both an IB and ACE candidate in the top 5% of her class, Jamie has taken on a challenging academic path while also serving in several academic clubs, community service clubs, and varsity volleyball. Jamie will be continuing her education at the University of Miami and sincerely thanks the Village of Royal Palm Beach for this opportunity.
Next recipient we have is Brooke T. Schofield.
Brooke Schofield is a senior at Seminole Ridge High School, graduating in the top 10 of her class. She has lived in the La Mancha community her entire life and comes from a family with deep roots in Royal Palm Beach. She is a 4th degree black belt, rugby player, and teacher of youth at her church. These experiences have taught her the value of discipline, leadership, and giving back. Brooke plans to pursue a degree in pharmacy and hopes to make a meaningful impact in the healthcare field.
The next scholarship recipient we have tonight is Gabriella Cerna.
Gabriella is a recent graduate of Palm Beach Central High School. She has also been awarded Cambridge's ACE diploma. She will begin her studies in video game design at the University of Central Florida this summer.
And our final, last but not least scholarship of the night is Cameron Shelby.
Cameron Shelby of Wellington High School plans to attend Florida Atlantic University next year to pursue a degree in criminal justice while continuing her running career. Throughout her 4 years of high school, she's been a dedicated member of the varsity track and cross-country teams. In addition to her athletic commitments, Cameron works at public supermarkets, is an active parishioner at Our Lady Queen of the Apostles Catholic Church, and enjoys fishing and reading in her leisure time.
So congratulations to all of our scholarship winners. We really look forward to hearing great things from you in the future. And as I said before, looking forward to you all coming back to keep Royal Palm Beach a great place to live. So thank you so much for this. And, oh, yes. So, boy, I got two reminding me. That's good. So the one thing I said, and I forgot it, was that we're going to get together for a group shot. So let me ask that all of the recipients come to the front area in front of the dais together. We'll take a shot of just the scholarship recipients first. Then we'll bring down the council, and then we'll see if we can get the Education Advisory Board, if they're still here, to join us and see if we can get one big group picture. How's that sound? All right. All right, so council recipients, scholarship recipients, come on down. Well, hang on. Wait. Just a minute. Oh, hey. Okay. And so if the council would come down and join us, actually, let's try to do the Education Advisory Board and the council all at once. See if we can do that, all right? Okay. And I'll tell you what. So we have Rachel's mom with us, who is one of the recipients. Rachel is someplace receiving another scholarship. You guys know that, right? So I'm going to invite Rachel's mom, whose name I forget. Sure. And so congratulations for Rachel, and we know she's going to do great things, and we look forward to her coming back and spending time with us, bringing all of the wonderful knowledge and excitement that I'm sure she does have back to her involved. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it. Okay, so you as part of the scholarship recipients, and then we'll get the council down here, and then we'll do the Education Advisory Board with it. Okay, we good? Do we want to pull some chairs down in front? Let some folks sit down. Okay, thank you so much, appreciate it, I really do, thank you.
See you in August, if not around town.
We'll be talking, I promise.
I'm not crazy this summer, so. Yeah. I know. All right, Nancy, take care.
So. We'll let this just naturally happen. So for those that are still here, we often take a recess for 5 minutes. I don't know how much closer to get. So for those of you who are still here, we often take a recess for 5 minutes so everybody can leave if they wish to leave. You all are welcome to stay for the meeting. I don't want you to think you're not welcome. All right, I see you waving and leaving. I got it. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you all for coming tonight. All right.
How's it going?
Good to see you as well. I failed to recognize the principal of Royal Palm Beach High School, who is here still. I'm surprised. Dr. Robinson, thank you so much for being here this evening. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you earlier.
No, you can stay as long as you want.
You can stay as long as you want, indeed, yes.
Even longer if you want.
All right, so then moving on to the next agenda item, which is reports. And I will turn to the council and, yep, that's it. Ask if each has reports. Let's start with Councilwoman Sharps.
Good evening. How is everyone? I hope everybody's doing good. I always say that first. It's been a really great month, period. Got a chance to go to the Black Elected Officials Scholarship Luncheon. They gave away $27,000 in scholarships last year. They'll give away more this year, and next year's goal is $54,000. And I've been voluntold that I'm going to be helping with that committee. And then going to the cultural day. Oh my God, I had such a good time. I ate so much. The food was so good, and I had such a good time with everyone there. It was wonderful. Just going to the events in Royal Palm and, of course, bragging about our village. I went to the League of Cities meeting yesterday, luncheon yesterday, and I got a chance to, Ray, I threw you out there, said you were the best village manager in the county. If they had any questions, they should call you. And I also bragged about our city and our sidewalks, because they were complaining because people are parking on the grass. I said, well, you need to come to Royal Park, because we don't play that. So just want to let you know that I was bragging. It was great. It's just wonderful being on this dais and being able to help. Last but not least, tomorrow is my birthday. I'm going to be celebrating my 29th anniversary of claiming I'm 25. So you all,
Math, right?
it's just good to be a part of this council. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Vice Mayor?
There's been a lot going on, but just a couple of the highlights I'd like to mention. Several of us got to attend yesterday. It seems like a flash, but thank you very much for the invitation, Principal Robinson. I think they just do a phenomenal job over there for the graduations, and it's great to see everyone in a happy, good environment, and it moves. You guys aren't messing around, so thank you again for that invitation, and that's all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, great, thank you. Councilman Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Just a few comments. I also attended the Cultural Diversity Day led by CAFSI on Saturday, May 10th. It was a lot of great music, and I got a lot of great desserts. It was really good. Got a little trouble coming home because I bought too many. Happy Mother's Day for all the mothers out there. I also got to attend the graduation of Royal Palm Beach High yesterday morning. Dr. Robinson led a great ceremony. I know that's not easy, so hats off to you. It was really great to shake the hands of all our graduating seniors. That was just an awesome time. And I'm going to do a tech tip. I said it last month. I'm going to do it again this month. So, for my fellow council people, I'm going to talk about AI. So I'm going to give you guys a little tip about one tool that I use. It's called Notebook LM. So Notebook LM, the definition is it's an AI-powered note-taking tool designed to organize, summarize, and generate insights from your docs. What it really does, well, it does that. But you could take a really long document. Say you get a long report from our village manager, and you don't want to read the whole thing. You load it up into Notebook LM. Right.
Said nobody ever, Adam.
Some of them are like 60 pages. So anyway, you load it up into Notebook LM. It'll actually create like a cheat sheet, a briefing document for you. You could actually load up multiple documents, up to 100, ask it questions. It gives you great answers with information right from the documents. The coolest feature, for those of you who like to listen to podcasts, it can actually create a podcast from any document. And it's actually I did that with a 120-page document I had, and it created a 20-minute podcast conversation between a man and a woman. And I got to understand everything that was in the document in a 20-minute drive to work. So it was pretty cool. So Notebook LM, it's by Google. Check it out. And that's my report. Thank you.
I don't know. I'm blown away. That's so cool. No, thank you, Adam. I'm serious. It's pretty cool. So the Recreation Advisory Board met Monday, April 21st, and Ron, the Recreation Supervisor, gave a report. And so I want to share some of those facts with you. Co-ed youth basketball K through 8 completed its season. 200 kids, 24 teams, which is growing. Co-ed volleyball team for middle school, ages 10 to 14, had 5 junior teams and 7 senior teams, and 108 enrolled, which is a 50% increase from last year. We've outgrown our space, and we are borrowing space from Crestwood Middle School, so the recreation center can't be built fast enough. And the youth leagues in baseball, softball, soccer, and travel basketball are in full swing. Summer camp, which takes place from June 9th to August 1st, summer camp has been filled up since the first 2 weeks. Amazing, which is great. And then other youth programs include youth tennis, karate, private golf lessons. And then he also reported on adult basketball, 10 teams. Pickleball, 150 participants and growing. They expect to grow to about 200 this year, which is amazing. And then, of course, we have in the Recreation Center yoga, total body conditioning, and annual fitness memberships. So it was good to hear all the things we've got offered to our residents. Shifting gears for a second, I had the pleasure of meeting a leader in the Youth Council from Wellington. He was instrumental in forming the Youth Council and recruiting dozens of students, both who live in Wellington and who attend other schools outside of Wellington High School, which is pretty cool. And guess what? He's offered to assist us in the Youth Council development and creation for Royal Palm Beach. And then a couple events that are coming up. Tomorrow, May 16th, Food Truck and Expo with the band 56 Ace. Apparently, they're a fusion band of country, rock, and dance music. Fun. And then Saturday will be the last green market for the season, so get there so you don't miss your favorites. Monday, May 26th will be our Memorial Day breakfast and celebration held in Veterans Park, beginning at 9 a.m. with a continental breakfast and 9:30 with the ceremony. And then lastly, mark your calendars. I know it's early, but I like to get these things on early. June 30th, we will be celebrating and unveiling our newest public artwork, Rooted, in front of Village Hall. Festivities will begin at 4:30. There'll be a presentation and refreshments. And that's my report, Mayor.
Great, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So great reports, and in respect of the time, I'm going to keep mine very brief, but I will say that attending the Royal Palm Beach High School graduation yesterday, oh my gosh, was fantastic on so many levels, not the least of which was the speeches, including the principal's speech, was inspiring, one right after another. I have not really had that experience in similar situations before. So congratulations for running a very efficient, but a very well done, and a very compassionate graduation. Obviously, everybody's happy. I think 571 hands, right, kind of shook, that's a lot of handshaking. But that's a lot of happy people, including not just the students, but also the families and the teachers and faculty that have made that possible. So congratulations on a very, very successful year and a great graduation ceremony. Speaking of education, our Education Advisory Board had its last meeting last week, and interestingly enough, they showed an interest in what the council was doing during the workshop on support to schools. Actually, when I was waiting for the beginning of a graduation ceremony backstage, I had some principals come to me and ask me about it. So there's a lot of interest in the community in what we have started, and having people who we can tap into, like the young man that Councilwoman Brodowski just mentioned, I think is going to be a great asset. We just need to kind of follow through on configuring what it is that we want to do going forward with that initiative. With regard to something I want to keep on our radar, and that is the countywide transportation master plan. So the contract negotiation is underway right now as we speak. So a consultant has been selected, and it's now a matter of getting a contract to go before the Board of County Commissioners. And hopefully by the end of June, we'll actually begin to see work on the part of the consultant, working with our Issues Forum and other organizations that really will allow us to do countywide coordination on a really, really important project. So it's an exciting opportunity, it really is, and so far it's moving forward pretty much as we planned. And the last thing I want to mention is, if you haven't been to a community band concert, check it out. It is fantastic. These are all volunteers. They practice 3 hours a week together on a voluntary basis. We have some professional musicians who are obvious from the quality of the work they do, but the entire band is fantastic. It really is. So I believe the next concert is June the 23rd, and you can check the calendar for that. But if you have some time, you're looking for something to do on a Tuesday evening, that's a great thing to do. So please do that. All right, that completes my report, and we'll now move to petitions. Are there any petitions to come before? Oops, I'm sorry. Yep, I do that, don't I? So I forgot the village manager with his report.
No report, Mayor. Thank you.
And our attorney.
Just to let the council know, my office published our interim draft of our legislative memo for the year through the manager's office. There's a little bit of good, a lot of bad, and more ugly than you can stick at. But so you should be getting copies of that. And you know, at this point, a lot of things have passed, but not been signed. I saw today the governor did sign the no fluoride in the water bill, so that's apparently on the books. Whether you agree with that or not, I don't know, but that one made it into the books. But we will keeping track as the budget session winds its way down, and everything
Need to speak into the mic.
everything either makes it into the books or gets vetoed, and we'll have our final draft later in the summer. But stay tuned.
Absolutely, there's more to be done, that's for sure. I watched the Florida League of Cities. They called it a wrap-up, but you can't wrap up something that isn't done. So I'm not sure exactly what that was, but it was a lot of the not so good and the bad and the ugly kind of a thing. So we'll wait and see what comes out of it, and could have major impact on all of us, that's for sure, not the least of which are our schools. So, all right, well, thank you for that. Now to petitions, right? Okay, are there any petitions to come before the council this evening? Okay, I'm not seeing any.
No, Mayor.
We have none on cards. Do we have any hands raised for petitions? I don't know whether we do that or not. No, Mayor. Okay, thank you very much. So with no petitions being presented, I will close that out and say to the public, are there any statements from the public to be made on non-agenda items or consent agenda items? Any
No, Mayor.
cards? Hands raised? Okay, last call for statements on non-agenda items and consent agenda items. Not seeing any, I will close the floor to public statements. Then we'll move to the consent agenda, and I will ask Madam Clerk to please read the consent agenda items into the record.
Yes, Mayor, well, thank you. Number 1, approval of the minutes of the council regular meeting of April 17th, 2025. 2, approval of a bid award and authorization for the village manager to enter into an agreement with Looks Great Services of MS Incorporated, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $827,125 for debris removal services. 3, approval of a special event permit for Mission Barbecue Company to hold an Armed Forces Day celebration honoring our military, active and retired, at a Mission Barbecue restaurant located at 11929 Southern Boulevard. The event will take place during business hours on May 17, 2025. And 4, approval and authorization for the village manager to enter into a professional services agreement for surveying services with BGE Incorporated for various projects in the village of Royal Palm Beach.
All right, thank you. Does anyone wish to pull any of the agenda items, consent agenda items? Not seeing any. I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda in a second.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving into the regular agenda, we have actually 3 quasi-judicial agenda items at the very beginning here. So I will take, as we normally do, the agenda items one at a time. Perhaps the attorney wants to swear in everybody at the beginning of this. It's like watching a tennis match here.
I certainly will, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. Could you state your name for the council, please?
Lindsay Jean-Louis.
Thank you. Can you raise your right hand for me? And Mr. O'Brien as well. Do you all swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And I'll turn to the council for ex parte disclosures. As you indicated, Mr. Mayor, these are the same applicant for all three, so the applicant will remain sworn. I'll take your ex parte disclosures for each, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
Thank you. Any for this item?
Staff and applicant.
Staff and applicant.
An applicant as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, well, let me read the agenda item, the first agenda item then. A public hearing to consider variance application number 24-089, variance. The applicant, Urban Design Studio, on behalf of WPB Ops Land LLC, is requesting variances for code section 26-92 4D in order to allow for 3 75-foot tall silos where village code limits the maximum height to 32 feet, a variance of 43 feet, and to allow asphalt piles not to exceed 78 feet where the village code limits the height to 32 feet, a variance of 46 feet, for a property located on 606 95th Avenue North. I will turn to the staff, Mr. O'Brien.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. As you can see on this slide, this is the location of the site. It's one of our most heaviest industrial sites here within the village. And as stated, the applicant is requesting a variance from village code for 3 75-foot tall silos, where village code limits the maximum height to 32 feet, and allow for asphalt piles not to exceed 78 feet. Village Code Section 2632 F6 allows Village Council to grant variances to the code when special conditions and circumstances exist, which are peculiar to the land, structure, or building involved, do not result from the actions of the applicant, will not confer on the applicant any special privileges. The literal interpretation of the provisions of the division would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties. Variance is granted. The minimum variance that will make possible a reasonable use of the land will be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the division and will not be injurious to the area involved or detrimental to the public welfare. The applicant contends that the requested silos and asphalt heights are essential for the operational efficiency and capacity of the asphalt production facility. This allow for increased storage capacity, more efficient handling of materials, which in turn enhances the overall productivity of the site operation. Village staff is not in support of this variance because staff believes that no special conditions or circumstances exist which are not applicable to other lands, and the literal interpretation of the code does not deprive the applicant the rights enjoyed by other lands in the same zoning district. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered this application on April 22nd and recommended denial by a vote of 4-1 with Commissioner Kara Derry dissenting. With that being said, Mayor, I'll turn the floor back over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Would the applicant care to add to that?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Again, Lindsay Jean-Louis with Urban Design Studio. I will kind of go through the extent of the presentation, covering the site plan and the variance and the special exception, but we'll focus on the variance at the end. So as explained by Bradford, our request before you tonight is a major site plan modification to construct 3 70-foot tall silos, to request a special exception use approval for the expansion of the asphalt and concrete plant with those additional silos, and requesting variances to allow the 3 70-foot tall silos and to allow for asphalt piles, existing asphalt piles on the site, not to exceed the 78-foot height of the existing silos on the site. And here we can see the site. It's located on the northwest of 441 and State Road 7. To our south is the Mazda Toyota dealership, separated by a lake tract. To our east and north is a unincorporated Palm Beach County Correctional Facility use, and then to our west is the Coral Sky Plaza, and we face the rear of that property. And just to go through the history of the site, in 1983, it received approvals in the unincorporated county to rezone to an industrial district and a special exception approval of the asphalt plant use. When brought into the village of Royal Palm Beach in 1989 via annexation, there was a development agreement that following year that worked to vest the asphalt use and allow the expansion of that asphalt use subject to special exception approval, as well as vesting the height of the existing county-approved silos of 78 feet. In 1995, this site was included in a master planned PID. However, it wasn't actually site planned with details on the site. It was included for land area, as you can see here in that 1995 approval. And again, even what's south to our site isn't consistent with what's developed out there today, but this just shows that this site was never site planned from a regulatory standpoint. So in coordination with staff, we prepared an inventory of the site to provide a site plan with improvements and to also show the site operation. And we also prepared a vegetation exhibit just to document the existing vegetation and landscape material on site. And again, this allows staff to have a document to properly regulate against for any potential improvements into the future. Again, the site's developed with 3 78-foot tall silos. There's a 4,183 square foot quality control testing lab, a 1,262 square foot accessory office incidental to the asphalt plant use. There's 2 open air shipping container roofs, and we are also providing sufficient parking per the parking requirement with 31 parking spaces, and we are proposing to stripe those parking spaces as part of this application. So this just shows a typical detail of the silo. Again, the trucks that access the site drive under the silos to receive the asphalt material. Again, these silos aren't creating any sort of smoke or noise. They're just solely for storage of asphalt. With the 3 proposed additional silos, the goal is to make a more efficient use of the site. There's no additional traffic proposed. This will just allow, again, a more seamless flow of asphalt pickup for ultimately being used into the village roads, being used by FDOT and FAA and other agencies. The variances requested, again, 2. The first variance is for the new 75-foot tall asphalt silos. And again, these are going to be proposed on existing foundation proximate to the current silos that are there right now. And then we are also requesting a variance for existing asphalt piles not to exceed the height of the existing 78-foot tall silos. Again, the asphalt piles, this application isn't proposing any additional storage or any additional capacity. It's just to properly formulate a maximum height, since there was not a zoning mechanism to allow for a maximum height of these silos and the piles, as these aren't structures. But consistent with this application, we're using the base 32-foot maximum building height to base that against. But again, just to reiterate, these asphalt piles have been there since 1983, and these piles aren't being improved or enhanced and are increased in any way. This just shows language from the development agreement in 1990 and later amended in 1994, which specifically recognized and authorized the continued operation and expansion and redevelopment of the existing asphalt plant, and permitted this as a special exception use to be requested, which we're doing tonight. And as you see in subsection B, the village acknowledged that there was silos and a transmission tower existing on the property prior to the development agreement, the silo being 78 feet in height and a transmission tower that's no longer present being 165 feet in height. And the village acknowledged and represented that these are fully conforming uses under the zoning code. And these are just a collection of some views from the vehicular traffic. Again, this site doesn't really have much public access from a pedestrian standpoint. So anything you're going to see, at least from the vehicular traveling public, is depicted as you can see here. And from that southern right-of-way, you can see that you're really not seeing the silo from this distance or the asphaltic piles. Especially considering the traveling speeds on these roads Similarly, so on State Road 7, you're, again, just given the existing construction and the landscape material, you're really not seeing the existing 78-foot height condition from these portions. We also took a picture from closer to the inside of Coral Sky Plaza, and still it's not something that's just immediately noticeable as far as the existing silo heights. And we also took a picture from the car dealership. This is looking at the employee parking along the northern row of that car dealership. And as you can see in the blue arrow, there's more than 400 feet separation from the car dealership property line to our site's property line, and even further to the existing silos. So there is a good amount of separation from that adjacent use. And then finally, we took one more snapshot from 95th Ave, which is our western property line and the shopping center's east property line. As you can see, that buffer does provide some screening for the uses that we currently have. This use, again, is consistent with an established industrial area in this area northwest of Southern and 441. As you can see, there's a CEMEX concrete plant highlighted in red to our southeast, and then the Titan Ready Mix concrete plant highlighted in red to our northeast. Now, this site has been in existence for more than 30 years at this point. The picture I was able to find here in 1999 depicts the site consistent with the operations that you see today. And as you can see some of the asphalt piles that have been established, again, since 1999. And as you can see over the years between 1999 and 2002, development took place around our existing site. But throughout the decades, the asphalt piles remain. So again, as part of this application, we're not proposing any additional height of the asphalt piles, but this allows staff to have a mechanism to regulate a maximum height for the existing piles. We'd also like to request revised conditions of approval for conditions D and E. We are in agreement with the rest of the conditions. Specifically, condition E reads that the applicant shall add dust dampening equipment to ensure compliance at all times with section 26101 of the Village Code. We're requesting that just the applicant ensure compliance at all times with section 26101 based on the vested use of the site. The asphalt piles that we're requesting the variance from, they are a recycled asphalt material, which really is a non-dusting material. This is a material that also doesn't do well with water, and prior to it being used, it actually has to, the user has to ensure that it's dry. And similarly with that recycled asphalt material, this is a type of material that's used to compact roads. Maybe you're driving out in Loxahatchee and you have the dirt roads. The wrap material that is stored in these piles is what's used to compact it and then, again, make it a non-dusting material. So we are requesting that revised condition. And similarly, we're requesting condition E to be revised to remove sufficiently shielded and covered on all sides, as our plant user will ensure that during high wind events, there will be at a sufficient overall vertical height to eliminate any particulate matter and water pollution from the piles. But again, this the pile that we are requesting the variance from is a non-dusting material. So that concludes my presentation. We have members of the Ranger Asphalt plant here to speak more to the specifics of the use, and we're available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So I'll turn to the council and see if the council has any questions for the applicant while he's here. If not, then I'll turn to the public and see if anyone from the public would care to comment or make any statements. If not seeing any, do we have any cards?
No, Mayor, we do not.
We have no cards. Do we have any hands raised, Mr. Manager?
No, Mayor.
All right, so I'm not seeing any indication that the public wishes to engage on this. I will close the floor to public comment. come back to the council once again for either additional discussion or a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve variance application number 24-089 with the additional conditions added by the applicant.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? I hear no opposed, so it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'm sure you'll adhere to the guidelines that you just described. Thank you all.
I'm sorry, because I'm a lawyer. Can I ask for a clarification on the motion? Because Mr. Miller used the phrase additional. They were actually modifications. That way, otherwise, if they're additional, we're going to have two sets of conditions that are inconsistent. So if I could get that clarification, I would appreciate it.
The way I interpreted his motion was the additions were because we had certain conditions of approval, and it was proposed to us to eliminate those conditions of approval. That's what I thought I was voting for.
That's fine.
That's just me.
That's why I didn't.
So
That's why I didn't interrupt. They're actually not conditions to this application, but I heard Mr. Miller, and what they're saying is correct, so that will need to continue in the next applications as well.
just so long. Got it. Thank you.
All right. So let's move on to regular agenda item number 2 then. Public hearing to consider application number 24-125 SE, an application by Urban Design Studio on behalf of WPB Opsland LLC, and adoption of resolution number 24-42, confirming council action. The applicant is requesting special exception use approval to allow for an expansion of the existing asphalt or concrete plant use in order to permit the addition of 3 75-foot silos within the industrial limited IL zoning district for a property located at 606 95th Avenue North. Mr. O'Brien.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to breeze through my presentations. I think that the previous item was the item of contention. And I think that the applicant had given his presentation, and that presentation included the variance, the special exception, and the site plan. So I'm just going to breeze through these next two. What I'll do is I'll start with in reviewing the proposed special exception, village staff consider compatibility with adjacent land uses, consistency with the village's comprehensive plan, and conformance with the village's development standards for the underlying limited industrial zoning district. Whether the proposed special exception is consistent with the standards of the village's comprehensive plan, complies with all development regulations of the village code, does not have adverse environmental impacts, does not have adverse vehicular or pedestrian traffic impacts, does not have an adverse impact upon public facilities, does not have adverse impacts on adjacent properties, compatible with the character and living conditions of the existing neighborhood, does not have an adverse impact on property values in adjacent areas, is not a deterrent to the improvement or development of adjacent property. The proposed special exception will not seriously reduce the quality or quantity of light and air available to the adjacent properties. The Planning and Zoning Commission, this is the application with the modification to the conditions, and so will be made part of the motion. And the Planning and Zoning Commission considered this application and recommended approval, contingent upon the approval of the council approving the variance request. And so that has occurred, and Planning and Zoning Department is recommending approval of this application. And I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Applicant, care to add anything?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I should turn to our attorney first for ex parte, right?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. So the record is clear, any council ex parte disclosures to be made on this item?
Same as last time, the staff and applicant.
Applicant.
Thank you. And as Mr. O'Brien indicated, site-specific conditions 2C, There are two conditions in there. So if the maker of any motion to approve this item, if the desire of the council is to modify those pursuant to the applicant's request, if the maker of the motion could have that reflected in the motion that they make. And it could be, you don't have to restate exactly what they said. If your desire is to approve with the revised conditions as stated by the applicant, that would be sufficient.
Okay. Is that clear? We good? Okay, so I'll turn to the council and see if anyone has any questions on this particular agenda item or comments. All right, not seeing any. Then I'll open the floor to public comment. Do we have any cards?
No, Mayor.
Any hands raised?
No, Mayor.
And I look to the audience last time for public comments. Not seeing any. We'll close the floor to public comments and then move back to the council once again. Any further comments or questions? If not, I will entertain a motion and a second.
I'd like to redeem myself. So I'd like to approve application number 24-125 with the revised conditions from the applicant. Did I get that right, Mitty? Yes. Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We'll move on to our regular agenda item number 3. A public hearing to consider application number 24-088 SPM AAR, an application by Urban Design Studio and an adoption of resolution number 24-41, confirming council action. The applicant is seeking site plan modification and architectural approval to construct 3 75-foot tall silos to be used in conjunction with the existing asphalt production facility, stripe and pave an existing employee space to be ADA accessible, and update the site plan to reflect existing conditions for a property located at 606 95th Avenue North. Mr. O'Brien.
Great. Thank you again, Mayor. This slide here illustrates the proposed site plan with the affected areas highlighted. In reviewing this petition, village staff considered conformity with Chapter 26 of the village's Code of Ordinances, specifically how the proposed project meets the requirements for the industrial limited zoning district as it pertains to parcel size, parcel width, setbacks, pervious area, parking requirements. The site landscaping layout remains unchanged from the initial 1990 approval and exists as legal nonconformities today, and the access will remain via 95th Avenue North. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered this application on April 22nd and recommended approval by a vote of 5-0, and staff is recommending approval of this application. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Applicant have anything to add? Okay, then I'll turn to the, I got to do ex parte.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know it's redundant, but just so the council can disclose any for this item.
Same as before.
Staff and applicant.
I'll ask just, this application has the same conditions in the documents that are in your backup, so if there is a desire to continue the theme of the last item and have those revised conditions, the maker of any motion to approve needs to also reflect that in their motion on this item.
All right, we clear on that? All right, then, very good. I'll turn to the council and ask if you have any questions or comments. If not, I'll open the floor to public. Do we have any cards? Do we have any hands raised?
No, Mayor.
Okay, once again, last opportunity for public comment. Not seeing any. I'll close the floor to public comment, turn back to the council. Any further conversation, comments, or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion and a second.
I can only go downhill from here. I'm not making a motion.
So, okay.
I'd like to offer a motion for approval of this agenda item with acceptance of those variances that are indicated that was shown in the presentation.
So the motion is clear. Your motion is to approve with the revised conditions as shown by the applicant?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. The item passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Appreciate your efforts and speaking with us in advance. It was helpful. Thank you. You'll have a good evening. Okay, moving on to regular agenda item number 4 is the appointment of one alternate member to the Education Advisory Board. And since I am the liaison, I have the opportunity to make a recommendation. We had 2 applicants, actually, for that one seat. And having talked to both of them, we're very fortunate that we have 2 excellent applicants. And I talked to one and told the individual that my plan was to recommend the other, but I encouraged him to go forward and to continue to pursue positions. I think he'd make an excellent addition. And so you could tell by my gender reference there that I am recommending, although I can't make a motion, that we have that we bring Tanya R. Small onto the Education Advisory Board for a term ending a 2-year term ending March 2026. That's a 1-year term, right? Yep, a 1-year term. So once again, my recommendation, which I need a motion for, is to bring on to the Education Advisory Board Tanya R. Small for a term with the board as an alternate ending March 2026. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Tanya Small to the Education Advisory Board.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. I appreciate the help on that one all the way around. Okay. We are now moving on to agenda item number 5, which is the annual review, evaluation, and merit pay determination for the village manager. So, a couple of things come to mind. First of all is we have 2 new members of the council, and I'm sure that they've been introduced to the process that we use for evaluating the village manager's performance over the prior year period. I don't know whether you are aware or not, but I've asked the question myself, what is the basis for this evaluation? It turns out that Village Code Section 2-2 states the following: performance evaluation, the council shall review and evaluate the performance of the manager at least once annually. Council shall utilize objective criteria. It turns out that's pretty open, and the approach we use has identified 6 criteria, as you saw in the letter of instructions that I provided to you all. The village manager's contract also basically says that there is an annual performance review, and that in conjunction with that, the council agrees to consider a grant of merit pay. And I can talk a little bit more about that. The merit pay can be in the amount of a percentage of base pay from 0 to 5%. And that would be for a 1-year period of time applied to the base salary. So with that thought in mind, as we have done before, and seems to, if you're going to advise me on something, go ahead.
So the way that the contract is written, the manager's in year 2 of a 5-year contract. In the first year, a year ago, the way the contract is written, any merit pay was added to the base salary last year, but that's only in year 1. For year 2 through 5, if the council grants merit pay, it's provided in a lump sum payment that does not affect the base pay. So I just wanted to make that clarification. This would not be added to the base pay. It's simply a lump sum payment.
Right, a bonus, if you will. So, okay, that clear to everybody? All right, so let me see. So moving on, once again, like I said, we have 6 criteria that we asked you all to consider in evaluating the village manager's performance. And so with that thought in mind, and ultimately the quantification of the evaluation being, at least in my mind, the determination of a percentage to be granted as a merit pay lump sum. So we've got some qualitative evaluation opportunities, and I'm going to turn to each one of you all and ask you to give your impressions of the performance of the village manager over the last year quantitatively, and then we'll come back around and I'll look for a motion about a merit pay lump sum payment. So with that thought in mind, let me see if you all have any questions of me or the village manager or our attorneys on this before we go forward. Everybody okay? All right, then as I said, I'm going to turn to each one of the members of the council and ask that you give an evaluation in a verbal form, and then we'll get to the quantitative version of that after we hear each one of the inputs. So let me start with Councilwoman Rodusky.
Sure. So the memo that we got emphasized 6 different criterion. And so I'll go through each one with a few comments, and we'll go from there. So the first one was human resources and handling human resources. Ray maintains stable leadership with the village's workforce, with a continued emphasis on employee retention, performance evaluation, and training. He has promoted internal growth and managed labor relations without any disputes. Team morale is very positive, and you can see it. When we see the leadership team, we can just see that, so that's outstanding. The second criterion, a village and intergovernmental image. Ray continues to represent Royal Palm Beach with professionalism and strategic insight across intergovernmental forums. His reputation with county, regional, and state level partners is strong and respected. He has secured support for key initiatives through collaborative relationships. Super important. I don't see that in my vantage point at the state level and our county level. I don't see that among other city leaders. So I appreciate that. Number 3, long-range planning. As you know, we do strategic planning every year, and long-range planning efforts have been consistently integrated into capital improvement planning and community development. The 5-year strategic vision remains on track, emphasizing resiliency and growth management with future projects. Financial management. Ray has demonstrated strong stewardship of village finances. The 2025 budget was balanced without compromising service delivery, and reserves remain healthy. Strategic use of grants and capital funding reflect prudent financial leadership with transparent reporting to the public and council. And we value this, I think, most of all. I do, most of all. Communications. Internal and external communications have increased. Public outreach through website, the magazine, digital billboards, the vector, social media, town crier, and announcements about future events from the stage help to further engage all residents. So oftentimes we talk about the communication level and wanting to do more. Ray's doing it. It's being done. So the next question is, how do we get the residents to actually pay attention to all that information that's out there? And then the last one is completion and direction of capital projects. Capital projects have largely remained on schedule and within budget. The village has benefited from Ray's oversight of major infrastructure and park improvements. And so overall, at a scale of 0 to 5, you're right up there at like a 4.8. You can't get a 5 because you always got to be reaching for a little bit more, Ray. But I appreciate your leadership. I appreciate your care and concern, not only for our residents, but our government and our team here. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did share my comments personally with Mr. Liggins. I do want to say and point out how many people love living here in Royal Palm Beach. We heard it from the county administrator earlier. It takes a coordination of a lot of little details to make that happen, and it's due to Mr. Liggins' leadership. So thank you, sir, and I would rate him at the highest level.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
I guess I'm changing a little bit this year because I'm pretty much copying exactly what Jan said, in addition to the 4.8 rating, and I don't discount what Councilman Miller said, because I, now being the old man, I guess, for the benefit of the new ones, I was on the council when Ray became our manager, and unfortunately, in my opinion, we did a disservice to him. He was our, assistant manager / village engineer, and the way the contracts were written, the offer the council ultimately gave him was less money than he could have made if he rejected the offer and continued on as the village engineer, which was appalling to me. And, through my discussions with the manager, he believes, and I appreciate it, because to me, it showed a lot of strength and belief in himself and our community by, you're stepping up into a bigger job where you're getting more scrutiny and they're giving you less money. So he believes we've treated him fairly and remedied that situation over the year, but I just wanted to make that, that's my perspective and where I'm coming from, and I'm glad to see other people appreciate the work that I knew as a new person on the council that I thought he would do. So I'm with Jan.
Okay. So if you were to rate, okay, that's what I was going to go to since we set that forward. Councilwoman Sharps.
I'm a newbie. I respect you to the highest. I was serious when I spoke earlier, when I said I apologize, but I did throw you out there because you're an example to be followed. I have lived here for a while, and I keep up with what goes on in this village. I tell people to call you because I know that you're going to speak to them respectfully and you're going to tell them the truth, and that matters to me. This village is in a great condition, not only from the work that the council has done, but definitely because of your being here and your leadership capabilities. I don't do 4.8s because I'm a minister, so I know that you can be here today and gone tonight. So because of that, I give you a 5. I know that you will continuously strive to the best, to do even better than you're already doing without that type of a grade. I know that you will. And again, I thank you, and I give you a 5.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And so we can talk about each one of the categories, but I think I'll just hit a couple. One is the image. Image both inside and outside the village. And I would say that the inside village image is probably more challenging than the outside one because it's a day-to-day, moment-to-moment, oftentimes in your face, sometimes actually a very challenging situation that's presented that has to be sorted out. And one of the characteristics that I attribute to Ray is he's incredibly meticulous and very rigorous about what he does. Sometimes it's annoying, actually, but I rely on it. I do rely on it. I really do. And when I think about the image outside, Royal Palm Beach has a tremendous, it really does. And part of it is because Ray is willing to volunteer as he has stepped up to leadership positions in many different organizations throughout the county and even at other levels in other places. He brings with him Royal Palm Beach. And so his reputation is our reputation, and it's a good one. It's a really good one. I appreciate especially his willingness to participate in the countywide transportation master planning program. I think that's going to have a tremendous impact, and the reason it will, in a large part, is because Ray will be involved, Bradford will be involved, some of us will be involved, and so Royal Palm will have a great opportunity to really make an impact on something that will have a lasting impact on this community, an extraordinary opportunity to demonstrate cooperation and coordination with the county. So I appreciate and value all of those things that you bring. The long-range planning goes without saying. I mean, that was 13 years of that I think we've been doing. And it gets better every year. I think this year's Citizen Summit was great. I really think it was fantastic. The questions that were posed, the responses, the engagement, the staff, we've got this, and we do it well. And the most important thing is, therefore, we are able to hear what the citizens think, at least those that are willing to spend the time with us. And so I couldn't ask for much more than that, except to say that it becomes the basis then for building our budget. And for anybody who looks at a well-run organization, they would appreciate all of that, to say that the money that we are entrusted with is well used. And so that goes to Ray. He was a prime mover on that whole initiative, and it just keeps moving forward and getting better and better every year. Completion and direction of projects, capital projects. I think we're at 75-point-something% complete as of the third quarter, so it's a likelihood that we'll be at least at 80%. My estimate says probably higher than that, which is the same thing it was last year at completion, which is excellent. If you take a close look at things that maybe haven't been completed yet, there's a rationale that goes with that. And we talked a little bit about maybe doing a semi-annual kind of a progress report, so we can stay in touch with what that progress is, more than just the spreadsheet that we're given, and actually have a conversation to find out more about what's going on, and to hold ourselves responsible for the success in that particular area. The one area that Ray and I have talked about over and over again is the area of communications. As we all know, communications is a two-way street. And so there have been many opportunities for, I would say, both of us to improve our techniques in active listening. That's one of the areas I am hyper-challenged in. It is not an easy thing to do, but it's a very powerful thing to do. And so we talked a good bit about that. And actually, it came down to two particular quotes that I think at one time, Ray actually mentioned it when we were talking. One of them was Stephen Covey's, seek first to understand before you seek to be understood. That's a powerful guideline, and it's not one that's easy to actually apply, especially in the moment when you're passionate about what's going on. And the other one is Maya Angelou, who said something to the effect that people will forget what you said, they will forget what you've done, but they will not forget how you made them feel. And so I hold those two things up to myself and challenge myself with it, and I offered that to Ray as well. Insofar as a numerical score, which could be actually applied as a percentage in the merit pay area, I'm kind of in between the 4.8 and the 5.0. And so maybe that's the place to come down to say a 4.9. That would be what I would say at this particular point. And so I want to go back now to the council and say, what do you all think? You want a further discussion on it? If not, if somebody wants to make a motion.
I would like to add something. Mm-hmm. This score doesn't reflect what I think he should get.
Okay.
It wasn't a direct correlation.
All right.
It was just my assessment of the criterion.
Okay.
I actually think he should get all 5.
All right. How does
Fine by me.
everybody seems to be okay with that? Okay. Would someone care to make a motion then? Merit pay raise.
I'll help you.
4.9 for that. Go ahead.
That we award our village manager the 5.0 because of the work that he has done and he is going to do.
All right. I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. Congratulations. Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated, and I am very fortunate to have the career that I have had the last 39 years, and for the next 4, it even looks better. Thank you very much.
Great. Appreciate the hard work. Really do. Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, we forgot to tell you happy birthday.
Somebody's 27 today.
Okay, I did the math, though. No, okay. Happy birthday. But before we go, I do have a request of the council that you give me a moment. I have a request that would allow us to continue moving forward with our workshop activity. You may remember that one of the comments that was made, well, two things that I recall. One was go to Florida League of Cities, acquire the formats for both the Youth Council and also for the Florida City Government Week. Our village manager did that, provided that to us. One of the other things that I don't know was actually provided as direction at that time, but I will tell you from my conversations with members of the Education Advisory Board, members of the community, and also the occasional comment I got from the principals, I'd like to go back to comments that were made regarding a survey to reach out to the principals to try to get their input on what it is that they think would actually help them in the area of rising to A-rated status and maintaining A-rated status. So what I'm asking for is two things. One is I drafted a principal survey, and I should have given this to the clerk so she could pass it out, but I think there's the right number there. And the idea was just to see if the council would support sending out a survey like this, modified with whatever other comments you all might feel would be appropriate. If you're willing to do that, then we could turn to the village manager and task him with send this out to the principals of the 6 schools we have in Royal Palm Beach and solicit their input. So again, what I was hearing was an expressed interest, excitement actually, about what we're trying to do. And even in the area that I think, from my point of view, is a stretch for us, is to actually do something that might influence and help raise the ratings of our schools. So once again, just putting it out there for a comment, for a discussion. And at the end of this conversation, I'd like to know whether or not the council would support actually putting a principal survey out there like this, if not this.
I have no objection to a survey. I think it might be a good idea for us to look at it and, figure out what questions, because, this is something that you did, so that's great. If other people have input or other questions
Right.
or concerns that we can put in there and then, bring it back as, a council agenda item and then decide whether we're going to send it out or not.
Okay. Any other? Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Then we'll look forward to putting it on the agenda then as a compilation of any other input from any members of the council, so as to be able to reach out to the principals. And I will tell you, there's a lot of positive response that I've gotten. I don't know whether anybody else has gotten it from folks about what we're trying to do. And so, well, thank you very much. That makes sense.
May I?
Do we want to talk about any timelines? Because June 5th is our next meeting. I know, that's why I'm mentioning this. And then the next meeting is July 10th, that's our budget workshop, and then July 17th is our next council meeting. So July 5th, 10th is a workshop, and then, 10th is a workshop, and then the 17th is our July meeting.
Got to be the 17th, it seems to me, of July, you said, right?
First.
What were you going to say?
I was curious to hear what the timing was.
Timeline, okay.
Because mine's something different.
Okay, so we want to then look to putting it on
July 17th council meeting.
on the agenda for July 17th?
So what I'll need is just your input before then.
Okay, all right, great. All right.
So clarity, is the direction for us to review this and provide comments to Ray before that meeting?
that was what I had intended anyway. And it's not just comments, changes.
Add our questions.
Add questions, take away questions, change the wording. But this is just a starting point, and that was the idea.
Okay. As a preview, just as a initial thought, because I do like to take things and think about them for a while, but as initial thought, I'd love to make sure that we have the context for why the survey came about, as we're mentioning strategic planning and how we came to this initiative, and then making sure the questions have guardrails around the things we've already talked about that we want in place, like no low cost of services and money spent from the village instead of,
Right.
so making sure that they're just not open-ended. So that's what I'll be looking at.
Okay, that sounds like a great initial response, and of course, the opportunity here to think about it, as you asked, is something that then will give us more specific input that I think will result in a good survey, and we'll get some input that will help us go forward with this. So once again, I see a lot of enthusiasm out there for this whole initiative, so, and I appreciate the support of the council. Yes, ma'am.
About the young man from Wellington that put together their youth council. I would love, I know he said he would help us with that, with hours. I would like to offer my mentee from Royal Palm Beach High School, Dardell, that was here tonight, to work with him so she can see what he does, because she's starting a new club at Royal Palm Beach High School. And then I would also like for her to be involved, with what we do with our council as well.
That's wonderful.
She's a sophomore.
I have his information. I'll share it with you.
Thank you.
All right, great.
And if both of you would just share that with me, both contacts information. Yes. Thank you.
All right, bringing those things together.
Mayor, sorry, I have one more question.
Yes.
As we're thinking about asking the principals this question, is it valid, or would it be helpful to also ask assistant principals? Something to ponder.
Okay, let's ponder.
Yeah.
I'm good pondering on that. I am. Okay. Any other comments?
I do. Just as we're considering these questions, when you put examples in, let's just be a suggestion, be mindful. Sometimes it's leading the question. Examples are good things sometimes, but sometimes it leads. You get an answer of what you want from when you put in the example. So just consider that when you're reviewing these questions.
Okay, good point. All right, any other comments on that topic? I appreciate you all allowing me to put that in front of you. And unless there's some other business to come before the council tonight, I will thank you all for your help and have a great evening. Meeting is adjourned.
Have a good trip.
Thank you. Yeah.